Hey, good morning, everybody, and good evening to those in Australia today. I'm so delighted to be chairing today's session because, as you all know, today is a very special session and very different from the usual mentoring sessions we've been having since the start of the year. And it's special because we've got a special guest speaker in the house, Mr. Delasie Dogbey, who for those of you who were in the program last year, you'd remember him from last year as well. He came and shared some brilliant insights with us, and most of you requested that we bring him back. So we have brought him back, and we're really leaning in today to hear from Mr. Delasie Dogbey. So I'll now move on to the main discussion for today. I would hand over to Mr. Delasie Dogbey, who is a thought leader, a strategist, and a catalyst for change. And for those of you who tune into radio and all of that, I'm sure you've come across Mr. Delasie's work, and he's a Rotarian president, as he's just mentioned. He's doing so much amazing work. He was just telling me before most of you joined in the meeting that the picture on his profile was something that was awarded to him. The last, was it in 2023?
Yeah, 2023, yeah.
2023, where he was awarded Best Author in Ghana for a series of books that he had published. So we're in for a treat today. And Delasie, thank you so much for always being so generous and sharing your time and insights with us. Today, Delasie will be talking to us about how to grow our social capital and communicate like a pro. Delasie, I know through his post on WhatsApp and all that he's got tailored programs for training communication, especially for women. So he's really the best of the best on this topic. So thanks for coming, Delasie. And he asked for three volunteers. So thank you for those who put up their hand to facilitate the conversation. It's Benjamin, Joseph, and Mabel. So those will be your people, Delasie. Over to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It is, I don't take this opportunity for granted. My whole life, one of the secrets I discovered is that the more you share, the more you win. When you learn and you share, you become better at what you do. And for me, this topic is a very important topic because social capital, it never ends till God calls us. We keep building our social capital till God calls us. I met a lady who is about age 59, and she told me that the last year, I'm still networking, I'm still getting to know people because I'm still building my capacity. And if a 59-year-old is still building her capacity, how much more as the young people? So for me, this is a very important subject or topic. And for a lot of people who are in academia, we take this for granted because we always focus on just the grades, we always focus on just the results. But outside the results, there's a relationship to be built. So for me, we're going to have a conversation about building social capital, about communication. And it's not going to be the normal type of communication. It's going to be very, very simple things that we take for granted. But for me, some of these things have helped me. A lot of people say, the last year, you are doing this, you are doing that. It's all because of my social capital. I've built a very strong social capital. Sometimes I don't have $1 million, but I can be at places where there's $1 million. I always tell people that once you have a powerful social capital, there's always possibilities. You can pick your phone and you can connect to anybody in the world that you can't imagine that you had access to. But because of your social capital, that is possible. So that's what we're going to discuss today. Edith, if you don't mind, I want to share my slide. But the
Yes,
focus is
please.
not. Okay, we'll share that later. It's just for shaggy reasons.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Is it clear? Grow your social capital.
It's beautiful. Yeah.
Okay. So where's Benjamin? So I'll connect to Benjamin. So I'm connecting with Benjamin, but in the process, I'm connecting with everybody. That's going to be the strategy. So for whatever I say to Benjamin, I'm saying to everybody. So hi, Benjamin. Good morning from Accra, Ghana. I have two watches here. One says 10:25. The other one says um, 9 past 10. So where's Benjamin? So Benjamin, it helped me. Benjamin and
Yes, Benjamin, Mabel, and Joseph.
Benjamin,
Yeah,
Mabel,
Benjamin, just jump into the conversation.
Joseph.
Thank
Hi
you.
Benjamin. Hi Mabel. Hi Joseph. So the meaning of the last is God has heard your prayers. So whenever I connect with somebody, I remind them that as soon as I connect with you, God will hear your prayers. And if God does not hear your prayers, it means that you have to check from source, especially because of where I'm coming from. The source is very important, but that's a joke anyway. And forgive my biases that I'm using a lady. At a very young age, I determined my target audience and I started working with women, young ladies, women of different ages. Because I grew up in a home where my father was very busy. So I grew up with my mom, my grandmother, my aunties, my sisters, my cousins, all female, who took very good care of me. So I have a bias towards women. And I formed my LWR Orator Club and my LWR organization and the Ladies War Room organization, all centered around women. I've been doing that for the last how many years? Over 10 years, 12 years. And the exciting part is that men have caught the vision. In the beginning, when you come for my seminars, you see 99% women. Now I have men who want to pay extra to be part of that session because they see the benefits. So forgive me that the picture is a woman. So yes, our topic for today is grow your social capital, communicate like a pro. And as I mentioned, social capital is very important in whatever we do. No matter where you find yourself, you need that social capital. That social capital opens the door for you. Doors where billions can enter, you can enter because of your social capital. So Benjamin, Mabel, and Joseph, I want to find out something. In the chat box, in one word, describe who you are right now. Don't focus what's on my screen. I have confused here, I have ambitious here, I have scared here, I have ready here. Just what comes to your mind when you think about Joseph, when you think about Ben, when you think about Mabel, what comes to your mind? My volunteers, are you there? We're having a communication, we're communicating. Communication is a two-way thing.
Yeah.
So already your currency, your deposit with me is running down, it's going low because you're not communicating with me. I'm not feeling you. I've heard only Joseph's voice. I've not heard Benjamin's voice. Everybody else, please share who you are right now, where you
Yes,
find yourself. Who are you right now? The word that comes to mind.
so Mabel wrote in the chat, she said, I'm a dedicated midwife, passionate about volunteering and networking. And Benjamin said he's energetic. Emmanuel says curious. Hmm. And there's more coming through the chat.
Okay, let's hear them more. I want to hear them more. I want to know the kind of people I'm dealing with.
We've got Joy says she's resilient. Joseph
She's
says
resilient,
ambitious. Edith
ambitious,
says
okay,
goal oriented.
goal oriented. Okay, I'm loving the one-liners. I'm loving the words. Very positive. I've not heard any negative yet. That's good. But I mean,
Yeah.
I would love to hear negative. It doesn't mean you're wrong. That's your state of mind, what you see, how you see yourself. Sometimes we focus on the positive. I believe that sometimes negative also tells a good story, depending on how you present it. That's the art of communication.
Yeah.
So, Joseph, what did you write? That was a very interesting one. Okay. So, when it comes to social capital, most people at a particular age will focus on education, and that's a good thing. When you're in the university, your main target is the university. But after talking to a number of young people, after going through the experience myself, I noticed these things. That the best student is that who is doing well in his academics or her academics and still able to do well when it comes to his social or her social life. So I have a mentee. The mentee is called Nunana. Nunana does very well in school, top grade, very creative. He thinks outside the box. He has deep passion, heart full of ambition, but he has no confidence, no network. When given an opportunity to speak in public, he's always freezing. He can't connect to people. He can't have conversations with people. We find out that in his own world, he's the king. But outside, he has no level of connection. He has no level of impact. And then there's this other mentee of mine called Santua. Santua is average student, does well in school, not too creative, but very passionate. She goes out of her way to connect with people. Fast forward, we'll find out which of them is doing well in life because of the social capital they've built over a period of time. Whenever I connect with young people, the first thing I tell them is that the future is here. The future, we're in the future already. So don't wait and tell yourself that I want to finish school before I build myself. I want to finish school before I invest in myself. I want to finish school before I build my social capital. I want to finish school before I learn communication. I want to finish school. I want. No. The best place to be is in the moment. And the moment is now. And it starts with your mindset. It starts your mindset of understanding that you need to connect your academics with your social life and blend it very well. And when you do that, based on statistics, you are guaranteed that 80% of your life, you will do better in life compared to somebody who's only focused on just academics. So we're talking about social capital, social capital. What is social capital? We broke it down into 1, 2, 3, 4. First element of social capital is relationship. By the time we finish with this presentation, I'll come back and assess your relationship. I'll come back and assess your influence. I'll come back and I'll assess what your reputation. Okay. So remind me
Okay.
to assess that. Wonderful. So all these things, Mabel, you said you're doing fantastic. It means that you're on a good path. And it means that you are self-aware of what to do when it comes to social capital. So in the world we live in, you can be extremely smart and nobody knows about it. I hear people saying that, oh, I don't like posting, I don't like sharing what I do. But unfortunately, the world we find ourselves in, whatever we do, there's an audience out there for all of us. There's an audience out there for whatever we do. But it depends on how we tap in. It depends on how we build our brand. In the world we find ourselves now, talent alone is not. That does not mean opportunity. You can have all the talent in the world, but if you don't have the platform to showcase or exhibit it, you're in trouble. There's a lot of noise. So how do you fit into that noise? There are a lot of things happening at the same time. How are you able to get people to connect with you? A lot of people are afraid. In this world, fear is no more an option. I always tell people that this world, fear is an amber light. It is not a stop light. It's not a red light. It's an amber light. It's supposed to propel you to do greater. So in this world we live in now, you don't have any choice but to be fearless. Even when you're afraid, you have to jump. In this world, you cannot be isolated anymore. Whatever you do, you need to connect with the world. And we'll go into why you need to connect in the world and still have your privacy. Communication has become a very important currency. A lot of people say they are good communicators, but there are different variables when it comes to communication. It's not enough to speak anymore. Now, when you speak, you need to speak with emotional intelligence. It goes just beyond what you say, what you do. It goes beyond the intention. It goes beyond the mindset. Everything has to be intentional in the world we find ourselves. We want to build social capital. Social capital is very important. But the first thing to do is to know who you are. I always tell people that if you don't know who you are, you can't connect to other people. You can't communicate well to other people because you don't know who you are. Before you start putting yourself out there, before you start connecting, before you start building influence, before you start building relationship, before you start building connection, you need to know yourself. And before you know yourself, you need to know what's in it. What did you come into the world with? So we're just going to do a quick test. Joseph,
Yeah, Mr. Delasie.
oh, you added a mistake again. -5 for you. Delasie is my brand. When you added Mr. Delasie, it means that you destroyed my brand.
Sorry about
Joseph,
that.
Joseph,
Delasie.
wonderful. How does it feel to mention my name without adding the
Delasie.
Mr. Delasie?
It's okay. It's okay.
It feels awkward. Yeah, let me tell you a story before I move into temperament. I had the opportunity to work at two places. No, let's say maybe one place before the organization. I worked at Ghana Telecom and Vodafone. I remember when I was working at Ghana Telecom, we would call our bosses, we call everybody who's older than you, Mister. And then Vodafone came and said, no, we don't, that strategy doesn't work here. You call everybody by first name. There's this woman we used to call Auntie Adwa. Imagine that when Vodafone came in and we had to call Auntie Adwa Adwa. It felt so awkward, but it's a state of mind. And for every environment, you need to study that environment and work accordingly. So I worked in Ghana Telecom, went to Vodafone, and I worked in SIC. And SIC, they will prefer you to say Mr. Auntie, Uncle. But emotional intelligence will tell you that you need to apply the knowledge. So when I got to SIC, now we started using uncle and all. So it's very important to always address people by how they want to be addressed. Yes, Joseph, on the screen, there are four things on the screen.
Okay.
There are four on the screen. Which one do you associate?
I would say I'm melancholic. Yeah,
Why are you
because
melancholic? Because most of
almost all the
us are,
things there describe me.
you don't find
You
yourself being
said?
a sanguine. You don't find yourself being a sanguine. No, wonderful. Edith, your students are very smart. Thank you very much.
I
I'm very
know this room is full of superstars, so we are very yeah, very
wonderful.
honored to be partnering with them to build their lives. Really, these guys are amazing.
Wonderful.
All of them in this room.
That's a good one. So for everybody, I want you to type your temperament based on what you see on the screen. If you don't find your temperament on the screen, write NA for everybody.
Yes, so I posted melancholic plus phlegmatic. Joseph is phlegmatic. Um, Emmanuel
Emmanuel is
Asamoah
sanguine.
is choleric. Edith is
Hmm.
phlegmatic. Joyce is melancholic and sanguine. Mabel is sanguine. Emmanuel Afeti is melancholic, dominant, and choleric. And then Benjamin is choleric and sanguine. Yeah,
Okay, wonderful.
yeah.
So one of
So
the
we've got a
things,
few people with a combination of yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. So I was coming to that. One of the beautiful things about this world is that even though we have dominant temperament, there's always this temperament that shows up based on your environment, based on how comfortable you are. And it's important that building your social capital, it's important to know yourself, to know what type of temperament shows up depending on where you find yourself. When I'm with my friends, the kind of temperament or personality that comes out is different from when I'm in a business setting. And it's important that you have to understand yourself in that regard. Understanding yourself gives you advantage when you are dealing with other people because nothing comes as a surprise to you when you know who you are. It's important that if you have not researched yourself, if you have not taken personality tests, temperament tests, you do that to understand who you are. You're always ahead in the game of life when you know yourself. And when you know, a lot of us spend time knowing other people, but we don't spend time knowing ourselves. Knowing ourselves and knowing other people gives us an advantage. It helps us get into rooms and automatically find our comfort zone and be able to express ourselves better. When you're having a conversation with somebody who does not know who they are, it's obvious. And in the world we find ourselves, advantage is information. Having information about yourself, your environment, and the people you deal with. So I'm building I'm building a building with what we are doing right now. At the end, you understand why we are going through all this process. Because most time people think building social capital means that, oh, you go out and you meet somebody and you say, hi, my name is Edith, and this is what I do. The game has changed. It become more of a gameplay. It become more of an intentional thing to acquire a social network. Everybody is keeping their goals to themselves. So before you're able to get somebody's goal, you should have been able to provide something extra. Providing something extra means that you are intentional and you are aware. So one of the first things you should know is your temperament. The last thing knows, I know my temperament. So when I'm dealing with people, I know what kind of temperament comes out at what point. Because of what I do, most often I'm a leader. So one of the temperaments you see is choleric. But there are times when I go somewhere, I need to exhibit some bit of sanguine in order to connect with the environment I find myself in. There are times when I deal with different kinds of people. So at certain points, I have to have that mindset of I have to bring out my melancholic temperament. And all this starts with you knowing yourself and knowing how to apply it to the environment you find yourself. It is not enough to say that, oh, I'm choleric, oh, I'm sanguine, oh, I'm this. No, it's the next level is for you to understand who you are and to know which card to play at which time. Self-awareness is very important. You need to constantly update yourself. Updating yourself means knowing yourself, how you react to things, how you react to situations. It's in order to build a powerful social capital, you need to know your strength. You need to know your weakness. You need to know the opportunities around you. You need to know the threats around you. Most often, when we are doing business, we apply all those things, but when it comes to our personal life, we don't. When it comes to the art of networking, the art of communication, we throw these things away, but they are very important. Another thing is identify your emotional baggage. Emotional baggage are the things, the emotional challenges you've had in the past and you've not worked on them. It comes back to bite you in different ways. It comes back to affect any relationship you find yourself in. For example, there are a lot of people, because of their upbringing, you are told to shut up. You are told not to express yourself. And if you don't work on that baggage or that trauma, you find yourself in rooms where you need to speak up, but you keep quiet. You find yourself in rooms that you have ideas, but you're afraid to speak. Because once upon a time, your uncle or your mother told you to shut up. When adults are there, you shouldn't talk. You need to unlearn some of the things that were said to you in the past. And it's part of what affects a lot of people's ability to build their social capital. A lot of people come to me and say, Delasie, I'm a CEO, but I struggle to express myself. So what I do is I'm always delegating, and it looks like I'm a great leader who loves team play. But the truth of the matter is that I don't want to disgrace myself. And when you do the analysis, you go back into history, you find out that something happened in the past. And the route they used to get there was knowing the job, understanding the job, and they get to a point in their lives now they need to express themselves because they are leaders, but they are still struggling. So one of the issues we underrate is the power of emotional baggage, the power of emotional traumas in our lives. So we're going to have an honest conversation right now. Okay, we're not going to judge anybody. In the chat box, write one emotional baggage you are dealing with. Something that happened in the past that is holding you back. We're not going to judge. Nobody's going to judge you. We promise. It is, isn't it? After this call, we don't remember anybody's emotional baggage.
No.
True.
Yes.
Okay.
We'll cut that out in the recording.
We'll cut that. Okay. Wonderful.
Yeah. Thank you.
One of the things I also discovered is that when you express your weakness, the world has nothing against you. When you express your weakness, sometimes it is fine to be not to be strong in certain areas and admit that I'm not strong, but I'm working on it. One of the things you find out in building relationship that enhances your social capital is honesty. I've had the opportunity to speak on a number of platforms because of my honesty to say that, you know what, I used to struggle with this, but after some time I worked on it. It doesn't make me a terrible person. It doesn't make me a loser. One of the things that affect us as human beings when it comes to building our social capital is our ability not to be honest with ourselves and the world. And in what we find ourselves, people are becoming more intelligent. So, for example, I'm having a conversation with Edith. I'm doing analysis. I'm analyzing Edith without Edith knowing that I'm analyzing her. It's the world we find ourselves now. So when it comes to communication, it's important to be honest in your communication. So let me tell you my emotional baggage. Growing up, my dad worked for an organization for over, I think, 20, 30 years. And I felt that even though he did well for himself, in my mind, I felt that he should have done better because he had everything it takes to get to that CEO level, but he got to a director level. So in my mind, I grew up thinking that no, I feel because he stayed at one place, that's why he didn't become a CEO. That's why he got to director level and sign out or retired. So when I started my work life, I promised myself that I would not stay anywhere more than 3 years. And unconsciously, that became my story. One organization, I hit high, then I moved to the next, then I moved to the next, then I moved to the next. Then one day I went for an engagement, a work engagement, and one of the panelists said, "Delasie, you're amazing, you're super, but your ability not to stay for that long, it's a problem." So yes, and I agreed. And I observed the pattern. And that's when I noticed that was my emotional baggage. It was because I didn't want to end up being at one place for a very long time and not getting the best. And indeed, it was working for me because every 3 years I get the next big level for another company. But long term, then I realized that no, in order to be consistent, sometimes you need to stay longer. Sometimes 3 years is not enough. So that my last job, I stayed longer. And what I'm currently doing, I've been doing it for almost 6, 7 years. So that was my emotional baggage. But once I realized that was the challenge, I worked on it. And for everybody, I asked you to write down, not now, after this call, write down 5 things in your past that is holding you back. For a lot of people, they never got the opportunity to work on their emotional baggage. And it affected their relationship. It affected their ability to do more in life. It affected their ability to build a more powerful social capital. Some of these things, we don't talk about it. But I've seen how it has affected a lot of people in corporate, a lot of people in business, where they take decisions based on their past. They take decisions based on how they feel because they've not worked on it.
Yeah.
There are some leaders, or we call them bosses. They are the way they are because of their emotional baggage, the way they relate to us. So, for example, I remember a client came to me and said, "Delasie, I have a problem. Every time I employ somebody, after a year, they leave me. So it means that once I employ you, I'll not be nice to you because I know you will leave me." And because of that, it affected his leadership style. And we had to work on it. It took him over 20 years to discover that challenge. That's why I'm excited. I'm having a conversation with young people who can start now. The more you clear your emotional baggage, the easier life is for you because you move through life lighter. You move through life living in the moment, understanding that the things that happened in the past are part of the journey. I'm excited because most of these things were never shared with us. We move through life learning things ourselves. I can imagine if I had this interaction some 25 years ago, I can imagine where I'll be, but that will not be my emotional baggage today. I'm grateful for where I am now. I'm grateful for the fact that we are sharing this knowledge. Emotional baggages affect the way we build influence, the way we build relationship, the way we connect, the way we communicate. You can go somewhere and somebody will say something to you, and it just destroys the flow of communication because there's an emotional baggage there. I'm spending time to talk about this emotional baggage because it's that elephant in the room people do not talk about. If you understand emotional baggage, when you are dealing with people, you understand the reason why they do the things they do. And understanding that helps you deal with people differently. And for people who are able to understand some of these things, it gives you value. It gives you value in your communication, it gives you value in your interactions. And when you build value, you become more important. And possibility of building a better social capital is higher. So it's important that we focus on some of these things that we take for granted. Observe your patterns. What patterns are you going through in your, whether at school, whether in your social life? What negative patterns are you going through? It's time to observe it. And in all this, the key is to be self-aware, constantly learning about yourself. A man or a woman who knows about themselves is more powerful than anybody can imagine. And it shapes your mindset. In the process of building your social capital, you need to build value. I've had a lot of young people come to me and, Mr. Delasie, I like what I'm using Joseph's word. Mr. Delasie, I love what you are doing. I want to be like you. I hear that every time. And forgive me, but it's very boring. Mr. Delasie, I want to be like you. Mr. Delasie, can you help me? And it's all about, can I help you? Can I help you? Can I help you? That's what I hear from most young people. Again, I've met young people who have come to me and said, Mr. Delasie, I saw your program, and I think we can work on this area. They bring value. And when they bring value, they gain my attention, they get my attention. I'm interested. I discovered the importance of value some time back when I was dealing with my mentor. I remember one day I had somebody I admire had a program. So I went early to that program. And instead of sitting down, he was setting up his presentation and all. And I think he was 50 something at that time. And he didn't have anybody to help him. So I went early and I helped him. And I even gave him ideas. Also said, you can add this to your presentation and all. He didn't know me. That was a very long time ago. I was in university. That was a very long time ago. And instead of going to ask help, I went with value. And after helping him, guess what? Anytime he has a program, he invites me. And that is how I started my mentorship journey with him. It was never about, oh, Mr. Bachman, I need this. No, it was about, Mr. Bachman, how can we do this? We need to add this. We need to add this to your presentation. We need to do this. I'm going to research and come and share with him. I'll come and tell him this is the information I'm getting from the ground. Then instead of becoming a mentee, I became a partner. And for most of us, we don't want to be partners, we want to be mentees. The game has changed. To build a good social capital, you need to become valuable. You need to bring something on board. A lot of time we ask ladies, what do you bring on board? Now the question for most of us is when you are dealing with different kinds of people, is that what value are you bringing? I remember when I was working at Ghana Telecom, I was in a department where there were a lot of managers. National service. I started as a national service person. So I was thinking, how do I build value? It was a fast-paced environment. And I also wanted to get in as a main staff. That time it was a popular thing to say that in Ghana Telecom, once you are done with your service, you are gone. And I said my story will be different. But how do I change my story? When my mates were buying wache and they were buying kenke and they were giving them list to go and buy things, you know what I do? I go to work early. I go to the files. I'll learn what the managers do. One day, the manager I was working under, he called me and said, Delasie, I can't make it, but there's an important meeting. And I have to go with the GM. And I said, this is my time. And I delivered. From that day, the managers stopped seeing me as a national service person. They saw me as, they called me deputy. They started calling me their deputy. And for most people in the organization, they didn't know I was a national service personnel because they have put me on a particular level because of the value I brought to that department. I was helping every manager. And the help was not, it was technical help. It was helping make their work easier. So whenever they are going for meetings, I go along. So I remember when I went for my interview, and the CEO said, you're a national service personnel. I said, oh, yes, ma. It was a joke. You know, we laughed over it, but fast forward, in that year, I was the only one who got my national service. I was the only one who moved from national service to become an employee. It's value. I tell young people that there's no age to start building value. It's value. To build a powerful social capital, you need to build value. I tell young ladies that in order to be respected, add value to yourself. Add value to yourself. That is the only way out. And this days it's easier to show your value because we have Instagram, we have LinkedIn, you can put your value online. What do you do in school that puts you on a different level? Do you just go study, pass your exams? No, you need to bring value. I remember when I was in university, my cousin called me and said, oh, at that time, GBS, I don't know if anybody knows the GBS. They were rivals to DSTV. There was DSTV and then GBS came. And my cousin called me and said, oh, GBS is recruiting salespeople. And I said, oh, I can get some of my colleagues to become salespeople. So I became a consultant indirectly for GBS. It is value. So my mates always remember that Delasie is that business guy. That guy is value. What perception am I building in their mind? In university, I'll go and look for internship to do because I want to add value to myself. And when you add value and you're having a conversation with somebody who can help you, the conversation is different. Let me tell you a secret, don't tell anybody. When you're dealing with rich people, they're looking out for what you can give them, what value you can give them. When you're dealing with people of influence, they're looking out for what value do you bring on board? What do you add to their life? When you come to me and come and tell me your nice ideas, I'll listen, but the truth of the matter is that I have about 1,000 people coming to me with the same idea. What makes you different? Joseph, what makes you different? Mabel, what makes you different?
The value
Benjamin,
you bring to your.
The value. I'm a Rotarian. and I have retractors. Retractors are the younger version of Rotarians. And I have a number of them reaching out to me, Mr. Delasie. But the people who are close are the ones who have brought value. I have this retractor who is now a Rotarian. Anytime I'm organizing a program, she'll be the first person there. By the time I get there, chairs are arranged, everything is put in order. So when there's an opportunity, what will happen to that lady? What will happen to her? She'll come first my mind. And guess what? That retractor is now a Rotarian. And just not a Rotarian, she's now secretary in my Rotary Club because of the value she brought me 5 years ago. And guess what? She was smart. All my clients noticed her. And they say, Amy is always around. Amy is happy to serve you water. Amy is happy to do this. It's the value, even though it was in a small way, it's small, I valued it. Now when I'm going for my program, in my head, oh, Amy is there. By the time I get there, Amy is there. And everybody knows that Amy is there to help. Amy is there to support. And in the process, Amy was learning. Amy had free access to all my programs. Can you imagine? Programs that people pay for thousands of CDs, Amy has access to because she was in the room and she was providing value in some way. Maybe what value are you?
There's a comment in the chat. So Daniel says that, what are you bringing on to the table? He said, me, dear, I guess I'll always bring the table itself.
Absolutely. If you can bring the table itself, bring it and put it down and show them you are in the building. If you can bring that table, and the table has value written on it.
What if there's already a table?
You see, the beautiful thing about this world is that, there's always allowance for extra tables. It depends on what kind of table you go and put there. That's the beauty of this world. Through innovation, you can create something that will get somebody's attention. Life is always dynamic. You always have to have something new. You go for a networking session. Forgive me, but Ghanaians are terrible when it comes to network. I don't know why. They'll sit back and not, because in our culture, you need to be calm. You need to be, you don't need to be expressive and all. So we go to places and then, so people think I'm a Nigerian sometimes. Because of how I can come to, hi, how are you? Good morning. We're having a conversation. You think you've known me for like 10 years. You have to be intentional in your communication. You have to be intentional in building that ability to network. I can meet you in an elevator and we'll have a conversation, but we'll close a business. People ask me, Delasie, how come you have this valuable network? I'm intentional about it. A student asked me, Delasie, how can I build my network? I told him, if you have time, I think if you have time, go to certain places and provide value. Go to certain places your mentors are. Go to places where you find people you want to be like. Go there, research them, be intentional. I've met people who have blown my mind. And I say, oh, wow. They see me and say, Delasie, I love your program on so and so. They tell me all those things and it blows my mind. Oh, wow, you actually went to YouTube to check. You actually went to Instagram to check. That's the next level when it comes to communication. I'm having a communication. Before I communicate with you, I would have researched your background. I would have researched who you are. I will not just walk into your room. I remember there was this big client I needed to connect with. And the first thing I did was research about him, find out things about him. So when we were having a conversation, he was just looking at me and I said, I know you're a Voltarian. Which craft is that? But he forgot that all his information is on the internet. He's being intentional. To build a powerful social network, you need to be intentional. Where are you going? Where are you spending your time? Where do you spend your weekend? It's very important. School is important. I always tell people that school grades very important. And when you add the social bit to it, you become unstoppable. You need to research. You can go and sit at the Achimota Golf range and just watch people play. And you never know who you meet. You need to learn how to communicate. Communication is very important when it comes to building your social capital. You have, based on statistics, based on research, when you meet somebody, the first line determines whether they'll listen to you or not. When you're doing public speaking, your introduction will determine whether people listen to you or not. When it comes to building your social capital, communication is very important. You have to learn. You have to invest into communication. What to say, what not to say. You have to apply even emotional intelligence when communicating. Let me tell you a short story. I remember when I joined SIC, we're in the face of SIC at your door. SIC had gone down in terms of public perception, image, branding, and all that. So our job was to make sure we brought the brand back to look more modern and all. And we had a target, and the target was crazy. And I told my boss that I will not do third party. If you know what third party is, it's vehicle insurance. Third party was basic. And I told him I'm not doing the basic kind of insurance because of the target. I needed to focus on the right kind of clients. And for 2 months, my production was zero. One day I took my team out on a Friday to a very popular fufu joint. And I remember I was going to receive a call outside, and I heard somebody talking about performance bond. I'm sharing this story because I'm telling you that it's important to be aware and to know what is happening around you. It's important to have a target in your mind. And the performance bond the guy was talking about was over almost 1 million. And that 1 million is my 1-year target at the time. And I passed by him, did a quick reverse, and I told him, Chief, I'm your solution. He looked at me in a very funny way. You are my solution. And I told him what he needed to hear. Fast forward, we got the business. And that's how my production started as one of the highest producers in the history of SIC. I didn't get the business in an office. I got the business at a chop bar. It's a mindset. At Semi's chop bar, I sat him down.
That is eating with purpose.
Eating with purpose. Where do you go? If I'm an usher at a program, I need to be strategic. I should just not go usher. It doesn't mean you're an opportunist. No. You are taking advantage in a positive way of the environment. It's very important. These days, people close businesses anywhere, everywhere. But it's the mindset that you have. Your mindset. You need to change the mindset. The law of attraction says that what you focus on becomes your reality consistently. So it means that you need to work on what? Your mindset. One, your mindset. How you see things. Because when I was in the university, I had this mindset that I don't want to be like the average person. I don't want to be like the average person. I don't want to be like the normal kind of person. I want to live life on my own terms. So that's how the journey started. Everything we did was intentional. Where we went was intentional. Who we connected with was intentional. The kind of friends we had was intentional. The kind of events we went to was intentional because there was a plan. The good thing for a lot of us now is that the game has changed. Nowadays, it was difficult to show your brand, but now the game has changed. Now you can easily go on Instagram and build a brand. And the beauty of this world is that you can become anybody you want to become now. Because whether you like or not, people are focused on your Instagram. They are focused on your WhatsApp. What do you share? I'm mature, so I don't post. We move from that era.
Yes.
Because truth of the matter is that some of the connects I've gained is because of the posts I share. People want to connect with that perception. On Facebook, for a number of years, I used to share real life stories. It's amazing the feedback I got from people who I never imagined would follow my stories. So when I sharing laptop, when I posting only laptops and birth and death, you know what happens? It means that is how people will see you. It's a good thing.
Yeah, that's the value they see.
What is the perception? So yeah, I know. So when I'm thinking of, if I have your number,
Yeah.
and I'm looking at when I think about laptops, maybe I'll think about you. But it ends there. True or false?
Yeah. True.
But what kind of brand do you want to build? What kind of perception do you want to build? What do you even sometimes the quotes you even put can be associated with your personality.
Yes.
I've made it a point to never post negativity. I always post positivity. So when people see you,
Yes.
they connect with you based on positivity. I have a friend. The truth of the matter is, when I think about him, I think about all the jokes he posts on WhatsApp. He's an architect, but I forget sometimes he's an architect. So when I need an architect, I don't think I'll call him. But he's always posting jokes. So I've asked him that he should try entertainment. He'll do a fun. If you try something in entertainment, he'll do well. But his jokes are very fun. Yeah, that's the channel I connect to. So I'm asking you on the call, what perception are you pushing out there? Okay. So from here, you need to now focus on your personal brand. Because after the laptop, after the birth and death thing you are posting, your personal brand says a lot. People are watching. Sometimes you need to start living the life you want to live now, the things you post. There was this time I posted a jet. 1 week, I started posting jet. Do you know what? I got a call from somebody who said, "Oh, somebody needs a personal jet to rent," because I was posting jets, different types of jets. So now both I was dealing in jets. Anyway, I cashed out anyway on that business. I got somebody who does jets and I got the commission. So yes, that's where we got into. You need to invest in public speaking programs how to boost your public speaking. You need to take part in competitions. Test yourself. Sometimes one of the strategies I tell people is to fail. Failure is good. It makes you become a better person. Sometimes take part in that competition and lose. It opens bigger doors for you. We've been saying this through the presentation, emotional intelligence, know yourself and knowing others. It's very important. It helps you build your social capital by understanding others, by understanding the situation around you. Visibility, underlying visibility. You determine what people see. The way you dress, even you're in the university, sometimes you need to dress the way you want to be addressed. This is very important.
Yeah.
Some of you go to places and because I'm in the university, you don't dress well. No, you need to dress well. It speaks a lot about you. It's all part of the process of building your social capital. Social capital is a very powerful currency. It's like the pound, it's like the dollar, and it's become like the CD.
Thank you.
Yeah. So all these things demand 5 ways to build your capital right now as a student. It demands the first thing is your mindset, growth mindset. You need to become intentional in the things you do. What kind of brand are you showing out there? What kind of communicate? How you communicate? You need to work on communication. For example, I tell people that public speaking, you need to understand public speaking. You need to invest into your public speaking. How? Let me just give you a quick tip. There are 4 things you need to know in public speaking. Whenever you are speaking, remember your introduction. Always remember that there should be an icebreaker. Always remember that there should be a story, your points, and your conclusion. Never forget that. That you gain from practice. Wherever you find yourself, it's time to learn how to speak up. The emotional baggage of fearing the court of public opinion, what will they say? Let it go. In class, whenever you have lectures, make sure you research before the lecture and show that, yes, I know what I'm talking about. That is how come you build value. Join groups that enhance you as a person. There are the Toastmasters, there are different types of organizations. You can reach out to me and join the LW Orator Club. These rooms help you build your social capital faster. Mentorship, get mentors, but please, the process of mentorship is becoming very different. Remember, you need to go with value. Build your personal brand. It's very important in the journey to build a powerful social capital. Remember, you can become whoever you want to become. In the process of building your personal brand, be true to yourself. People build brands on fake identity. Guess what? Based on consistency, you'll be found out. Be consistent with your brand. Be yourself. That's why from the beginning we spoke about know your temperament. We spoke about self-awareness, self-discovery. We spoke about all those things. When you know who you are, it's easier to communicate better. And the most beautiful thing in this world is communicating who you are and not pretending. I tell people all the things I post are the life I live. I've got to the point where you're over a particular age, you don't have to deceive anybody or deceive yourself. When you live your authentic self, it's a beautiful feeling. When you live because you know who you are, it's a different feeling. And guess what? When people know you know who you are, they accept you for who you are. And we all have different channels we connect to. Again, underline, add value before you ask for anything. That's one principle in life. Again, one of the tips I'll leave with you is that don't play in your league all the time. Attempt to play in bigger leagues, more difficult leagues. What does that mean? Connect with people who will enhance you, who are better than you. Don't be a local champion. The beautiful thing about this world is that you can always change your identity to fit what you want. Growing up, I was a very quiet, shy person. But through consistency, through becoming intentional, through growth mindset, I've become who I have become. And guess what? I've not achieved the things 20%, 80% of the things I want to achieve. It means that there's always possibility to do more. Attempt to become a better version of yourself every day. And now there's AI. So use AI wisely. Use AI to your advantage. AI can help you to become who you want to become. But remember to always push the hashtag or the slash humanize. Always remember. Use AI well and let it fit the life you want to live. By the process, combine the soft and the hard skill. And I'm sure if these things are all tips, they're all tips I'm just sharing with you. The one day we'll go into the actual process, but these things are tips. If you can go through some of these things, it will shape your life better and to help you connect with people differently. And when you connect with people differently through value, you gain more. You build a social capital that helps you push impact. And my prayer is always that I impact the world and the world impacts me as well. One thing I leave with you is that when you create value, the rewards come to you in different ways. And never underestimate the power of your social capital. Never ever underestimate that word, social capital. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Delasie. Oh my God. As always, yeah, our hearts are full and this is yeah, so valuable. Thank you for all the insights that you shared. I learned so much. Some of the key takeaways for me were about the main domains of social capital. So thinking about our relationships, reputation, influence, knowing our temperament as well. I thought that was amazing, just knowing who you are and being intentional and aware of who you are and who you are in different settings so that you can be your best, but also um get the best out of every situation. That was powerful. And then the bit about self-awareness and reflecting on our emotional baggages so that we can travel light. And yeah, value creation. That was a powerful one because I think a lot of us go into social interactions often with more powerful people than us or people with more influence than us. And what's on our mind is getting help or asking for help or just wanting to be around. But what you shared about thinking of what value we are bringing is just it's so powerful. And so thank you. Um, yeah, and then the ways of building social capital, which are very, very poignant points that we can take on and grow. So thank you. I have taken my bits and I'm sure everyone else has learned a lot. And we are definitely leaving this room better than we came. So Delasie, thank you so, so much. And we really appreciate you. I can't say it enough. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. I've
Yeah.
enjoyed myself as always. Fantastic
Yeah.
platform. Yeah, the way to go to shape the world positively. Thank you
Mm-hmm.
very much,
Yeah,
and
thank you.
everybody.
And guys, yes, like Delassie said, please, what you've learned here, share it on, share it on your statuses, share it on your YouTube or your Instagram so that other people can learn and grow as well, but also so that it can contribute towards your personal brand as well. So anyway, that brings us to the end of today's meeting. Thank you guys for coming, and we will see you next month.